In this episode of The Best Parts, we're taking a stroll down memory lane and reminiscing about everything that made being a 90s kid so special. Whether it was the tech, sports, or fashion, being a kid in the 90s was all that in a bag of chips. So try not to stab through your Capri Sun and meet me on the big orange couch, because this is being a 90s kid. The Best Parts. It didn't feel like it all the time, but 90s kids grew up in a pretty unique time. Living at the end of the 20th century and looking into the 21st meant that our lives were half analog, half digital. And no offense to my iPhone, but I kinda miss that lovably janky 90s tech. Rewinding VHS tapes, hoping the tracking didn't mess up when you recorded this week's episode of Hangin' with Mr. Cooper. There was the brief, glorious reign of Laserdisc, which even had games to play. But nothing beat blowing the dust off the old cartridge and settling in for a Mario 3 binge. And every 90s music fan remembers needing that one special tool, a pencil, to wind your cassettes back together. It was so exciting when we could finally get our music on CD. Want to call your best bud and tell him how radical the new Radicals album is? You're gonna have to stretch that cord as far as it goes, otherwise your little brother's gonna eavesdrop. Unless you were one of those kids with a cordless phone, of course. Cordless phones gave us privacy from spying siblings, the freedom to talk after bedtime without mom and dad knowing. You could even have a phone call in the yard. No way it could be better than this, especially with star 69 and three-way calls on your side. But if you wanted to call grandma long distance, well, that was gonna cost you.
What the hell do you want now?
But don't worry, the 90s also brought us 10-10-3-2-1. Kids today, with their dang internet everywhere, don't even remember paying for long-distance calls. Back in the 90s, we paid for the internet by the minute too, and liked it. Well, we didn't like it, but some part of me will always have the warm fuzzies for that dial-up tone. Budding romances over AIM, finally being able to use something other than grandma's outdated encyclopedias for research papers, going online really made you feel like a computer genius.
Allison, can you explain what internet is?
And when your rich best friend brought home the first iMac, you knew you had never seen anything cooler. All this new computer gear was pretty pricey, but hey, that's what layaway is for.
They're smart, and there's Kmart smart.
If you were watching ESPN in the 90s, then you were one lucky kid. First of all, you had cable, but really, 90s sports were a stratosphere all to themselves. Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, the entire 1992 Dream Team now that I think of it, Emmitt Smith, Troy Aikman, Deion Sanders, and Michael Irvin, and that's just the Cowboys. Sure, the 94-95 MLB strike was a bummer, but the homer at the bat episode of The Simpsons got me through it.
You're Daryl Strawberry.
Yes.
You play right field.
Yes.
I play right field too.
So?
Well, are you better than me?
Well, I never met you, but yes.
There's more to American sports than basketball, football, and baseball, though. Players like Pete Sampras and Andre Agassi made tennis more exciting than ever, and young Venus and Serena Williams ended up changing the game forever. Speaking of game-changing, how about that '99 Women's World Cup win? David Beckham's career at Man U got a lot of Americans interested in soccer for the first time. Tiger Woods brought new fans to golf, and Tony Hawk ollied his way into the mainstream. You want more details on any of these sports? Just ask Bo Jackson. Bo knows.
What is he doing here? I thought this was another Bono's commercial.
Bono's Sports, and here's one of the all-time great sports cameos. What, you guys don't remember Little Penny Hardaway?
Am I so out of touch? No, it's the children who are wrong.
He was the coolest puppet ever, but then again, everyone looked cool in that video. Overalls for the win. Both me and my sister sported the half-unclasped 90s overall look, and when it comes to 90s fashion, it seems like girls get all the love. Mood rings, butterfly clips, platform shoes, which are back, by the way. All they had to do was pop open Adelia's catalog, and all the hottest styles were right there at their fingertips. French tipped, of course. Let's be real, 90s fashions for the ladies still look good today. Fellas, raise your hand if you sported a mullet, rat tail, high top, or the always classic middle part. And if your hair wouldn't stay pointy, you could always cover it with a backwards ball cap, or a bucket hat for the truly bold. Then just pop on some Oakleys, make sure your hypercolor shirt still works, tuck that wallet chain into your Zubas, and then ask yourself, is it the Timberlands, Air Jordans, or Reebok pumps today? The preppier gentlemen, of course, can throw on puka shell necklaces, bleach their hair, and perfectly coordinate their head-to-toe Tommy Hilfiger gear. From fashion to Furbies, if you were into collectibles, the 90s may have been your favorite era. Beanie Babies, Pogs, Pokemon cards, Goosebumps books, Magic Eye posters, Power Wheels, Koosh balls, erasers, Lisa Frank gear, McDonald's toys, troll dolls, slap bracelets. We can be honest with ourselves. At a certain point, this was probably too much stuff. After all, 90s kids were raised to be environmentally conscious. You can always count on us to recycle.
Saving our planet is the thing to do.
Speaking of recycling, maybe the best time to be a 90s kid is now. Just like the 90s was all about the 70s, the 2010s are all about the 90s again. We're the grown-ups now, and that means reboots, remakes, reunion tours, and more throwback fashion than you can shake a bop it at.
Pop it. Twist it. Half it.
I don't blame today's teens and tweens for loving this stuff. It was awesome the first time around. Do you want another Best Parts video about 90s music, TV, or movies? Let us know in the comments. And while you're down there, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, because I'll be back here next week to talk about more of our favorite things and the best parts.